Experimenting with drugs caused
Apex teen died after taking N-bomb, not LSD.
Mystery drug caused violent overdoses. Synthetic drugs are killing kids.
LSD.
Mother's Day weekend was much like any other weekend.
The Matze family was spending their time up in Carmel watching their oldest son, Sam, play basketball. After the day's festivities,
he mentioned that he had a chance to hang out for the night with one of his fellow basketball players and friend.
Who knew a normal occurrence of spending the night at a friend's house?
It was in our neighborhood, and so we were fine with that.
Would later result in waking up to something unimaginable.
Until the next morning when we received a ring of our doorbell.
We have just learned that an autopsy on a 16-year-old Center Grove student has come back inconclusive.
Now, Matze was found by friends after he spent the night at one of their homes in the Eagle Trace subdivision.
Sam as a kid, Sam in 4th grade came to me and said that he wanted to play this thing called travel basketball. And I had not heard of anything like that, so he and I began a little search and talking to a few people, and Sam ended up playing on an AAU basketball team in 4th grade and 5th grade. And his later years of elementary school and then into middle school, he was here in the Center Grove area, and his brother Nick was always a year behind him.
He was my best friend, and we were always together. He was the bigger brother, I was the little brother. We got in scuffles like brothers should, brothers do at least. No matter what we were doing, no matter how boring it might be to other people, it was still fun to us because we were hanging out, being brothers.
They spent a lot of time together as kids, probably more time together than Sam and I did, or any of us with his parents in general. I remember the first week of middle school, Sam went to a different school than Nick, who was still in elementary, and Nick said one evening, "Sam, I haven't seen you for 72 hours." So it was a real difference for them not to be together as much.
I met Sam the year before I coached him. That was my first year here at Center Grove, so I started in that summer.
Me and Sam, we met in probably 2nd or 3rd grade when I moved to Sugar Grove. We pretty much just met through school and then became friends through basketball.
Pretty quickly, as an underclassman, Sam made an impact on me and just made a first impression on me as just one of those types of players that you kind of like to have on your team.
Sam was a really hard worker in school and in basketball.
I didn't have Sam in class just as a player, but talking to his teachers as his coach and checking up on grades and that sort of thing, they always talked about how strong of a work ethic he seemed to have in class, and his grades seemed to portray that.
He was a good student. He was an honors student, and he had a GPA over 4.0. On any given day, I could ask him what his GPA was, and he knew exactly what it was. He was just that focused.
He really cared about other people more than he cared about himself. He'd put his friends before him. He'd make sure his friends were happy before he was happy.
He was as strong as anybody as far as the character traits we look for out of our players. As mentioned, the work ethic, leadership. He's off on the sideline, and maybe the second team or the team that he's not on is going through their reps. He's talking them through on the sideline, making sure that they're in the right spot. But just seemed really well liked by his teammates, and just a likable kid in all aspects, on the court and off.
He was very methodical in his thinking. He was also very health conscious, always taking account of what he was putting into his system. He didn't like the typical fast foods. I remember in the month just before he died, we were going through McDonald's because that was our only option as he was going to AAU basketball practice. And he ordered something and he said, "Mom, remember to hold the cheese. All cheese is calories." So he thought about what he was putting into his system, and in May of this year it was pretty warm, and he and his brother were laying out in the sun listening to their iTunes, and what Sam said was laying out in the sun, and I said, "Well, have you guys considered going to a tanning booth?" And Sam said, "No, I wouldn't go to a tanning booth. That causes skin cancer." So again, a boy who was very alert to what was happening in his environment, and what ended up happening to him as a result of his death was not typical of his life at all. He mentioned that he had a chance to hang out for the night with one of his fellow basketball players and friends.
He just texted me and we kind of just planned the whole thing.
Who lived in the neighborhood, and a boy that he had gone to elementary school with. And he and another friend, he said, "We're going to be there." Was not an uncommon occurrence for kids to be staying all night, and it was in our neighborhood. And so we were fine with that.
He comes home at like midnight or so, and the first thing he does is come upstairs and call for my name and looking for me. And I act like I'm asleep. I don't say anything to him, and he leaves. The next morning, I wake up, I hear the cop come in the house and find out my brother's dead. He was my best friend, and now he's gone.
Received a ring of our doorbell, and the local Sheriff Cox, shared with us the news that Sam was no longer alive and that he had passed on that Mother's Day morning. Not what we were expecting, and at the time we weren't for sure what it was that had caused his death. And it took the state lab and the work of a Purdue chemist to identify that what had killed Sam was called 25I N-bomb. And it was a synthetic drug meant to look like LSD or acid. And from what we learned from the boys that Sam was with is that they thought that they were buying something that was LSD or acid that would go quickly through their system and not be detected on any sort of random drug testing that they're subject to as athletes. And all three of the boys took the same amount, and Sam did not wake up.
Between 2012 and 2014, there were 18 deaths in the United States just from N-bomb alone.
That Wednesday following, we received a call from the sheriff's office that they had identified where the substance had come from, and they had gone to the home of the individual who had made it, and they had raided that home and found not only the drug that killed Sam, but other drugs and ammunition or guns or other things that were illegal that led to that individual's arrest. What we found is that the drug N-bomb, which was not that familiar to law enforcement at the time either, probably came into the country in a powder form from another country like China, and it was mixed with some sort of solution like isopropyl alcohol or Everclear, and then sprayed or dipped onto blotting paper. And then that is how it was sold. And it's that simple how poison was made that killed my son. So in the days and the weeks and then eventually months that followed Sam's death, I wanted to share, and so did our family and friends, what we know about synthetic drugs so that we can help other kids just like Sam to make better decisions, to have accurate information from other than what they hear from peers. So we created a nonprofit called Sam's Watch, and we launched a website the very end of August. And what we have on there is information from media scans from across the country. So we have a database that shows what's popping up in various states. We can also look at it by category of synthetic drugs. If someone's not familiar with synthetic drugs, on the homepage we kind of have the Synthetics 101. What is, N-bomb? What are bath salts? What is synthetic cannabis? And we are out there spreading the word through media as well as educational opportunities to talk with students as well as parents. At the end of the day, my hope is that with this type of information, that Sam would have made a different decision than the one that he made. But that is how we move him forward with us now.
One small mistake or one decision can have a huge impact on your entire life.
Before his death, he was talking about what college he wanted to go to, and he'd been a long-time Michigan State follower and fan and had hats and Michigan State gear, and so I thought for sure when I was talking to him about what colleges we might visit that was going to be the first one that I heard, and he said simply, "Mom, I think I want to go to IU because it's close to home." So we were talking about that. I thought that was an excellent choice as well, and I supported him in wherever he wanted to go, but he had plans for the future, and they changed just like that. So you have to make good decisions all the time, every day, in order to make those goals happen.
Hopefully by this situation, Sam can have his impact on a ton of other youth.
What Sam would want people to get from it is make wiser choices and don't fall victim to peer pressure.
Most kids think, well, if I just do it one time, it won't do anything, but one time can change your life and end up taking it.
Say that everything's okay, 'cause I can see the tears you're crying, and I can't promise to take the pain away, but you can know I won't stop trying. I'll be the angel by your side, I will get you through the night. I'll be the strength you can't provide on your own. 'Cause when you're down and out of time, and you think you've lost the fight, let me be the angel by